I think a great word to describe how the industry has responded to COVID is transformative. I feel like all of our workflows and processes that weren't modernized, if you will, it forced us to make that transition.
When I think about the single word that kind of describes our industry's response to the COVID situation, I'd say commitment. I mean, there's so many things going on in the background. There's so much transformation going on. There's so much, adaptability. But at the end of the day, we committed to safely delivering energy, and there was no hiccups. I mean, you think about it, we had a global pandemic take place, unprecedented impacts to the economy, to every industry. And one of the things that I think we stayed focused to was the commitment to deliver energy.
So I have 4 sons, and we are a little heavy on the science at my house. So we talk about problem solving and what mommy and daddy, who's also in the industry, do every day. And essentially, I describe how I help find natural gas and oil to provide that to everyone in the world. But having spent most of my career in the shale revolution, being the single most contributor to reduction in greenhouse gases and emissions, I know that I'm going to continue to help solve this problem for the rest of my life.
I love that you say that we are the single most contributor to reducing carbon dioxide emissions, greenhouse gas emissions. I did used to work for a sustainability firm, and I worked for companies that brought innovative technology that was already being used in Europe and Asia and introducing it to the North American market. And it was a really exciting job to be a part of that energy future. And so now I work for a pipeline company, a large transmission company, and I can say our company has done more to reduce greenhouse gas emissions than I ever did at the green tech startup companies that I worked at.
And that's why natural gas is such a great fuel, right? I mean, it's peaker fuel for when the sun doesn't shine or the wind doesn't blow, and it's abundant and it's cheap and it's cleaner than coal. So you're reducing emissions that way. And so a lot of people don't realize how much progress we've made in reducing emissions just by displacing coal. And not only here in the United States, but as we become, and we are, an energy exporter, delivering that to third world countries and other countries to use natural gas for electricity to bring them out of poverty to create electricity. So there's a lot of amazing things that go on, and I just think there's a barrier and it doesn't get communicated the way it should.
I think as a millennial in the oil and gas industry, we have a huge responsibility and a huge challenge ahead of us to communicate, right, to future generations what we're doing, how we're doing it, and the benefits of it all, right, in a very objective light.
I think for me, the attraction to the industry in oil and gas, I look at oil and gas and it affects almost everything we do and we consume.
It's so weird as we kind of use our personal experiences to, see how just the energy industry itself, or energy, can be a sign of hope. I kind of think back, I'm from a third world country as well, and as I go back there and I hang with cousins and things of that nature, they're like, man, Chitty, we really like it when you come because we know we have a constant fuel source. I'm like, man, that makes me feel good. Well, it's not a reliable source, but the fact that they have a little bit of money to run the generator consistently, so that's as reliable as it's gonna get, in the little village that I'm from, is that the connotation that comes from that is, I am not necessarily the symbol of hope or anything like that, but you start thinking of just having the energy. I mean, you almost have never heard of a country that's in poverty that has a reliable energy source.
So what we're trying to do right now that's really interesting is that push for digital innovation, which comes from the top. So we know all this technology is out there. How can we apply it to our operations? And what we're doing right now is partnering with these big tech companies that are allowing us to utilize some of their processes and bring those over to our natural gas operations. And so it's really interesting to see how we've come so far. If you think about what a gas controller used to do, there's a lot of guesswork. I mean, it takes a lot of experience, a lot of training. And what we're trying to do is take some of that tribal knowledge and we're trying to plug it in. And imagine you're in a car as a gas controller operating thousands of miles of pipeline, thousands of assets, compressor stations, pipelines, meters, valves, and you're able to see kind of clearly instead of just, working through the process and guessing. Now you have kind of a heads-up display. So if you're in a car and you're driving and it's raining. All you have is windshield wipers. Now you have a heads-up display. You can tell which lane to move in, when to move there, when your exit is. That's what we're starting to do now and give that in front of our gas controllers.
The vision with 4.0 is just that, just to improve upon an already reliable source of energy and make it even more reliable, right? So we don't have an unreliable source of energy that we have to worry about.
As part of an industry that is looking at problem solving and solutioning, diversity is so much part of that fabric. And so I was wondering if you can kind of speak to that work, because I feel it's such important work for this industry.
What I was referring to is we have a women's network that I have the pleasure of leading. It's an employee resource group that women just come together regularly, whether it's for networking opportunities, professional development. We have community outreach programs as well as a thriving mentoring program. Women in the industry don't have nearly as many mentors or sponsors to help them sort of navigate the industry and their career. And providing that opportunity intentionally for women has really, I think, changed their own career paths, the belief in the opportunities for themselves.
The people entering the workforce these days are some of the most technologically savvy people ever. And that's in every division, in every department, in every segment of this industry. So they're the ones that are going to help us start to create these solutions to these issues that maybe some older generation, some of the older folks are saying, look, this is what we've done, this is what I know, this is what I know now, and this is how I can figure out this and get this better and start to move that needle in the direction that we want it to go. It's absolutely important that the people that we bring in are the people that are going to direct and lead the future.
I think for me, the word that comes to mind when I think about the industry and about my company and specifically is diversity, right? Not just diversity of looking around the table here, but diversity of thought, right? Diversity of multiple generations, right? Knowing how things were done in the past, what worked, what didn't previously, and kind of transforming that into what could be.
I think I'm proud to work in the natural gas and oil industry because I'm a part of a group of folks that are innovators, a group of folks that deliver energy not around just the states, around the world. And it's great to be part of such a global effort that we're forever going to need.
Yeah, I think when you talk about the quality of life that we have, there's a whole nother part of the world that is coming out of being a developing country and becoming an industrialized country. And I think we as a nation have a responsibility to step up to that charge. You know, we have some of the highest standards in what it takes to produce our resources. We have some of the highest standards in what it takes to transport those resources. And so if not us, then who?
When as a millennial, we've always adapted to new technologies. And I think we have a responsibility in this industry to never settle. There's always ways to do things better, to always improve, and never say it's always been done this way. We can do it better, we can do it different. And I think that's going to continue on the path of us being more sustainable, cleaner, and really better long-term for everyone.